Hey guys, how's it going? I haven't gotten one of these videos up in a week or two, so I apologize for that, but this week's video is very important because it marks the beginning of the Screaming Howard's 2012 commissioner election process. I know you guys are all really excited about that, as I am. It's one of my favorite times of year on an inaugural basis. Um, we'll get to that towards the end of the video. First, let's do the dirty work, review what transpired last week, and look forward to next week. Matchups. Let's look at it. Our matchup of the week was Wayne and Jeremy. This, as advertised, was a very close matchup, high scoring. Wayne ends up prevailing 104 to 101. He rides a big day from Tony G. There were several big tight end explosions across the league. Wayne was just one of the owners to benefit from that. He gets 24 from Gonzalez. Good day from his defense. Ray Rice and Doug Martin held it down, relatively speaking. And then even a decent day from Tony Romo. So all that comes together to give Wayne a 104-point output. Jeremy finally had a big day from Calvin Johnson. Finally that touchdown that's been eluding him for weeks and weeks. Stafford and Johnson carried his team, but didn't have a whole lot else going on. Spiller had 13, but wasn't enough to get it done. Totaling at 101, heartbreaker for Jeremy there. He falls back to 6-4. He's second in Goliath. We'll talk about that going forward too. There's a big logjam at the top of the Goliath. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how that ends up panning out as this season winds down. Another very close matchup. Cody squeaks by Chad by 1 point, 90 to 89. Chad, I feel like this has been happening to him all year. When he has his good weeks, people drop a boatload of points on him. Chad and I both know how that feels. So he doesn't get the win, and then on his subpar weeks, teams manage to barely squeak by him. Cody, not a commensurate output by any standards. Had 32 from Matt Ryan. 15 from the Ravens D, not much else, but yeah, he wins a win. Cody's 7-3, he's second in David, sitting pretty right now. Mason and I was another good matchup. We always have good showdowns, so I always look forward to them. This one, Mason beats me pretty convincingly, 128 to 107. It's always pretty demoralizing when you're the second highest scoring team in the league on that given week, and you end up losing because you play the highest scoring team in the league. So. Fantasy gods have just been cracking down on me all season long. I tend to face the highest scorer week in and week out, and it happened yet again. Mason, the beneficiary of another big tight end performance, 26 from Jimmy Graham. 27 from Breeze, that was expected. Just big performances across the board. I really had no chance. So Mason, best record in the league. He's looking like the team to beat right now. Very impressive. Let's look at David and Walter. Always love these big rivalry matchups. David, he broke out some old school defense on Walter. We haven't seen it much this year from him, but he holds Walter's high scoring team to 80 points. Manages to get the win 83 to 80. The Steelers D, in a timely fashion, like they did back in the day, seals the deal for him in the Monday night game. I know David, even though he was winless up to this point, can take just as much satisfaction from beating his nemesis Walter as he can from just about anything else. So big day from AP, by the way. That's looking like a great draft pick. Now I know we were all kind of worried about AP's injury status and whatnot coming into the year, but solid pickup on David's part in the draft, and AP now best running back in football. So 83-80, Walt takes down David. In the excuse me, in the last matchup I have not yet addressed, we had Wayne and Brad. So let's hold on, wait. Wayne and Brad is this week. Getting kind of mixed up here. The last matchup we hadn't talked about was Al and Brad. Okay, I knew we hadn't talked about Brad. Alright, so Mighty Owls versus Mighty Mutts. This time the Owls were mad, and it showed. Al gets the win 101 to 87. Brad certainly not helped out by a -6 from the Dolphins D. Tennessee on any given week is bound to be in a thrashing. They got obliterated by who did they get obliterated by 2 weeks ago? Don't remember. But they got stomped. And then this past week they stomped the Dolphins. So kind of I understand Brad's reasoning there, playing them after they had just gotten epically beat down by, and it's going to really bug me that I can't think of the team. But wait, the Bears. That's what it was. Okay, it was the Bears. Yeah, that's right. The Bears D went crazy that week. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, I can understand Brad's reasoning, putting them in. Tennessee's not known for their offensive proficiency. Didn't really work out. But luckily, Brad, you ended up losing by more than 6 anyway, so it didn't end up mattering all that much. Al, solid performances across the board. Team effort gets him a 101. Brady 21. Crabtree with a 13. I was giving Al a lot of crap the previous week because he tried to trade me AJ Green for Michael Crabtree. And, despite that being one of the most egregious trade proposals I've ever received, hey, Crabtree almost outscored AJ this past week, so, fantasy's crazy. On any given week, any player can contribute. Alright, so that wraps up our look at last week and what transpired there. Let's take a gander at the standings. Mason chokehold on David at 8-2. He's one game ahead of Cody at 7-3. Those two are the class of David, it seems, right now. Walter and I are 4 games back on Mason at 4-6. Walter and I both relatively, for our record, we're relatively high-scoring teams, but just can't seem to put anything together on a week-in, week-out basis, and our record shows it. David's sitting in the cellar at 1-9. Let's look at Goliath. Wayne's up top by himself now at 7-3. This is the first time in a couple weeks that any team's gotten separation, so Wayne riding that Doug Martin hot streak. He's doing the Dougie right now. I don't really want to imagine that, but he's got to do what he's got to do, right? Looking for that first fantasy championship. Al, Jeremy, and Brad in a 3-way tie for second in Goliath at 6-4. So that's really the division to be in right now as far as competition is concerned. 3 teams that are a solid 2 games over 500. All 4 at least 2 games over 500. Chad again is the David version of Goliath at 1-9. The fact that we have 2 teams that are so historically bad, not necessarily in output but just in record, has allowed for this unprecedented parity at the top of our divisions. I would even argue that Walter and I have 2 of the top 3 teams in David, and probably 2 of the top 4 teams in the league, and yet we're at 4-6. So this season has just been crazy. I look forward to seeing how it transpires going down the stretch. This coming week is going to be a big indicator of where teams are going to find themselves with 3 weeks to go. Let's look at what we got going down this week. I'm playing Al. It's do or die for me. If I even want a chance of making the playoffs, I got to win out. So, knowing that I probably won't win this week, because that's just kind of how the season has transpired for me, I got to pick myself this week. I like my matchups. I like my players. Never been a huge fan of Al's team. I don't know. I suppose if Donald Brown and Crabtree and Pettigrew all go off on me, then they all go off on me, but, I'm not really scared. Gods may get me for that, though. We got Walter at Cody. This is our matchup of the week. Looking forward to this one. Walter's got pretty much all the checks in this preview, but can't sleep on Cody's team, like we've said. 7-3. In a great position to make the playoffs. And Matt Ryan has got a really good matchup against Arizona this week. I like him there with those 2 high-flying receiving weapons, and then always dependable Tony Gonzalez in the middle. He should put up his typical 303 touchdowns. Yeah, Cody, nobody on the team really stands out other than Matt Ryan, but he tends to put together consistent performances. scores in the mid-90s on a week-to-week basis, and just gets those wins. Um, Walter will certainly have a reply for Cody this week, though. Good matchups for Rodgers and Demaryius Thomas and Gronkowski and Bengals D as well. I like them. I like that play this week. I think it's very competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised if Walter ended up taking this one. We got Chad and Jeremy. Uh, the matchups and records indicate that Jeremy will win this by a landslide, but I'm not too sold on the consistent production of Stafford and Calvin Johnson, especially in their NFC North rivalry with Green Bay this week. I think C.J. Spiller will have a huge day against Miami. He's finally got the lead back role there in Buffalo as Fred Jackson is out this week. I know Jeremy's really excited about that. Finally, we get to see C.J. of the first 2 weeks, perhaps. But I think Chad is going to be a lot more competitive than most people think. Luck's going to have a big day. Foster's going to have an enormous day against Jacksonville. I like Hayward Bay against New Orleans. I like Heath against Baltimore, even though he's got Garrard throwing to him. Yeah, Garrard's the backup for the Steelers. I think quarterbacks like that tend to rely on their tight ends a lot, so I think Heath will see a lot more action than, say, like a Mike Wallace or something like that, or an Emmanuel Sanders or whatever. Randall Cobb also, I like him. Rodgers has got to throw to somebody, and Jordy's questionable, and Greg Jennings is out. So I don't know. I want to pick Chad, but I've been doing that a lot this year. Hasn't really panned out, so we'll go Jeremy here. He's the classier team at this point in the season. Mason and David, this is going to be an utter obliteration. Mason, via some recent trades, has solidified a lineup that it looks shaky to start the season, but his 8-2 record should dispel pretty much all of that. He's projected for 137, which, if ESPN's history is any indication, will not happen. But David shouldn't even break 100 this week, so Mason rolls in this one and goes to 9-2, best record in the league. Finally, we have Brad and Wayne. I know I've taken crap this year for not believing in the Mutts, but I can't make myself do it. I can't make myself like Jeremy Curley. I can't make myself like Greg Olsen. Jordy Nelson is one of the few people I like on the team, but he's banged up. I hate Sean Green. Not a fan of Daniel Thomas. Maybe it's because I'm a Reggie Bush owner. And with the exception of Peyton Manning, Brad's in for a disappointing week. And Wayne apparently has found his new quarterback in Tony Romo. He's got that uber running back combo of Doug Martin and Ray Rice. Tony G's been clutch for him lately. I think Wayne has a good week and wins convincingly. So, to the main issue of this commissioner message, which is our commissioner election. Today marks, I'll post a message on the league board that it will be the official forum for declaring one's candidacy for commissionership going forward. I personally have decided that I would not like to seek re-election this year. That may come as a surprise to some of you, but if any of you have been attentive members this year, which you all have, I haven't been very good at getting messages up on time. I just really haven't been as attentive a commissioner as I think this league deserves. And if I were voting, I certainly wouldn't. Which I will be voting in this election, but if I had decided to seek re-election, I wouldn't have wanted to cast my vote for myself, just because I feel like I haven't done the best job over the past year. And this comes on the heels of the election controversy from last year, which kind of left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. Excuse me. So I've decided that the best thing to do would be just to kind of take at least a year off, let somebody else take the reins. Historically, how it's kind of worked out is Mason had it for 3 years, our first 3 years in the league. He then decided to take a break, handed the reins over to me. I will be finishing serving my 3rd year now, so it kind of seems like 3 years is a good term for a commissioner. I mean, that's not mandatory, obviously, because we have elections on a year-in, year-out basis, but it just seems to be how it's worked out. So I think this is the best decision in my interest and in the interest of the league. I look forward to seeing who will declare their candidacy for commissionership. Again, as I always say, I'd like as many people as possible to do it. I know it won't be the whole league; that would be mayhem. But I think reason kind of safeguards against that. And I'd like to see maybe like at least two, preferably three candidates. I think that'd be a fun election. And this time I kind of get to chill in the passenger seat and just kind of watch it all transpire and cast my vote for who I think the most deserving candidate is. So, like I said, I'm going to post that message. Will be the official venue for declaring your candidacy for Screaming Howard's commissionership in 2013. Sleep on it. It'll be open for, let's say, it'll be open until Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. Okay, and then from Wednesday to Wednesday will be the next Wednesday to Wednesday will be our issues week. The candidates that have declared will hash out, why we as league members should vote for them, and then there will be a few day period after that Wednesday. So that's 2 weeks from now, where a little less than 2 weeks from now, where we'll actually do the actual voting. So I look forward to this process as I do every year. I hope you guys do too. Please, please declare yourself as a candidate if you feel like you would be a good commissioner. I know many of you would be. And I don't know. Just want to take this time to thank you guys for having me as your commissioner for the past 3 years. It's been fun. Alright guys, I'll talk to you soon. Actually, I'll see you soon because Thanksgiving break's coming up. I'm excited about that. Hopefully maybe play some basketball with some of you. I don't know. Definitely see all of you, okay? Alright, take care.